What is going on, FA Nation? Justin Fensterman back with you, and as we continue accumulating weeks in the 2022 fantasy baseball season, let's talk trendy players, shall we? Let's talk about some players who are trending up and others who are trending down when it comes to their fantasy baseball production potential. It's the latest MLB Stock Watch report on FantasyAlarm.com. Let's get right down to market value and talk about some players. First, for a few players trending up, Kyle Farmer. The Reds still may be in last place, but they have played better baseball over the last handful of games. Farmer leads the Reds in RBIs with 28, and he's tied for second on the team in home runs with 5, and even in stolen bases with just 3. He's hit the ball in 11 of his last 12 games. He's hit 300 in his last month of action, and we've seen him hit in or near the heart of the Reds lineup. He's hitting more grounders than fly balls, but his hard hit rate is at 38% for the season, and that's higher than we've seen him average throughout his career. After Farmer plays the Nationals, who have allowed the second most runs in the National League, they face Arizona, who ranks 5th on that list. Up next, player trending up, Austin Hayes. Hayes is hitting .302 for the season and .340 in his last 2 weeks of play. He's riding a 13-game hitting streak, and he's tied for second on the team in runs batted in with 25. The only Orioles hitter that is hitting better than Hayes is Trey Mancini, but Hayes has produced more home runs and RBIs than him. Hayes is a much better hitter at home than on the road, and he's been crushing right-handed pitching this year, and that's what he's facing over his next few games. He's facing a bunch of right-handed pitchers in Camden Yards. Even though his BABIP indicates that he could be getting a little lucky at the plate, his hard hit rate and exit velocity are up from last season, and he's striking out less and walking more than he did last year, which shows that his plate appearances are legit. Final player on the rise, Joc Pederson, guy who's been in the news lately in the last week in our fantasy sports universe. Pederson has been steadily hitting cleanup for the Giants over his last few outings, and he's hit the ball in 8 of his last 9 battles. As we know, Pederson has been part of some off-the-field drama surrounding issues stemming from, of all things, a fantasy football league involving other players in the MLB. But even going through all that he has over the last week and answering a bunch of repetitive questions about these issues, he continues to hit the ball. We've seen Pederson improve tremendously over the last few years, and he's hitting better than he has in his entire career, hitting .268 at the dish. He's raised his on-base percentage since 2020 as well, and has posted RBIs in 6 of his last 9 games, including having a game a couple of weeks ago against the Mets in which he hit in 8 runs and slugged 3 homers. Now for some players trending down. Yasmani Grandal. Through 43 games of the year, Grandal is hitting a very low 160. He's recorded 1 hit in his last 6 games, and he's going through a challenging series against the Rays, and then the White Sox have a tough battle against the Dodgers. He struck out 38 times, 8th most of any catcher. His hard hit rate is lowest than it's been throughout his career, and he's not walking as much as he did last season. He's hit just 2 home runs for the season, and we've seen him have many seasons in which he's hit at least 20. It's been a lot of soft grounders from Grandal, and he's been the worst hitter in the White Sox lineup of anyone with at least 100 at-bats. Another player trending down, Javier Baez. He's been one of the biggest fantasy baseball disappointments of the season, and considering he was a 4th, 5th round pick in 15-team leagues, he's done very little to give us remotely a positive return on our investment. Baez is hitting .197 for the season, and the Tigers have scored the fewest amount of runs of any team in the major leagues and are the 3rd worst at the plate of any team, hitting .223 overall. Baez has struck out 41 times thus far, and he produced just 2 RBIs in May. 2! Baez isn't hurt or anything, but the Tigers have actually held him out of action for the last 2 games just because. If they need to give him more breathers this early on in the year, that's a bad sign, considering how poor of a hitting team this Tigers team truly is. His hard hit percentage is way down at 33, despite him being at 44% for his career. Final player trending down, Charlie Morton. The Braves are starting to play better baseball, but it's been a struggle for Morton in the first 2 months of the season. The 38-year-old is sitting with a 5.47 ERA, and he's allowed 11 total earned runs in his last 3 starts, and he's allowed fewer than 3 earned runs in just 3 of 10 starts. He's had just 1 start in which he struck out more than 5 batters. Ugh! He's put up just 1 quality start all year. After allowing just 16 homers in 33 starts last season, he's already allowed 6 in 10 starts. He's been able to last 6 full innings in the game in just one of those starts, and his whip sits at 1.5. His next start is slated to be, unfortunately, in Coors Field in the next couple of days. Yikes. And that is the latest Stock Watch report, FA Nation. Keep it locked in your fantasy baseball teams. Even if down in the standings, there's still plenty of time to come back. Baby steps. Look for short-term solutions because you never know when a player who you're adding as a short-term solution could end up being in there for the long haul. You just never know what gems you come across. Stay one step ahead of all your league mates by finding those trends, and your family has you covered.